Here's one towards the goal. That's going to be gloved by Travis Ridgen. Well, this is more like it.
This is Slangin The Bizkit. Here's Travis Ridgen and Dave Wheeler.
Ladies and gentlemen, lads and ladies, the podcast is back. This is Slangin The Bizkit. I believe we are episode 12. My name is Travis Ridgen. I'm number 33 for your Watertown Wolves in the FPHL, the Fedzino Federal Prospects Hockey League. On the other side of this Zoom call, and every single week on this podcast, he hosts the number one morning radio show in the city of Winnipeg. His name is Dave Wheeler. He's got the hottest girl in town from a weird country called Lithuania.
I've got all the heavy lifting. You just leave that to me, all right? 25 years of radio. All the blue collar gigs are mine.
I gotta say, I think the best intro in semi-pro is, and his brother's a retard. Like, what?
One thing I wish, and I actually tried to talk when I was doing the in-game hosting for the Manitoba Moose, I tried to convince Kyle Ballhair, he was now the head of game day operations and entertainment for the Winnipeg Jets, but I said, in the NBA, and I've always loved it when the NBA, and especially when the Chicago Bulls would do it, and from the North Carolina Tar Heels, number 23, Michael. They'd always mention their alma mater. I thought that was the coolest. How dope would it be if the NHL actually threw a bone to all of the colleges and CHL teams at these USHL HL programs? From the Peterborough Petes, number 19. I think that'd be cool. Shout out your old amateur club. Why not? Especially for love of starting lineups.
Well, and you got the voice for it, too. Like, you should be the one doing that for the Jets.
As I said, I'm happy to do that, but I am very expensive. Actually, the Jets got a great guy. They got Jay Richardson. Well, listen, when I first started doing the gig, and keep in mind, I was a very young man. I was single. I was new to Winnipeg, and I was trying to get my name out there and do every dog and pony show I could. The Manitoba Moose had built the new rink, which is now known as Canada Life Centre in downtown Winnipeg, for the Manitoba Moose. And I had auditioned for the voice of the PA guy with a goal scored by number 26, Blake Wheeler. I had applied for that, and a guy that I actually worked with, my producer at the time, Jay Richardson, ended up getting the job, and he's got the voice of God. He's fantastic. He's great for it. But I said, do you guys have an in-house announcer? And they said, well, no, we don't have the budget for it. And I said, I'll do it for free. And so I did it for 2 seasons for free, and then one day Mark Chipman was up in the press box, apparently, and he goes, what are we paying that guy? And they said, oh, nothing. He volunteers. And he's like, can someone please pay him? And so I went from making like $50 a game, and over the course, I think when I was done with the Jets was, I think it was $150 a game. And so, yeah, I mean, it's not retirement money, but you get to see free hockey. You're in front of 15,000 people every night, and you get to have a lot of fun doing it. So I was just happy to make a few extra shekels to put in my pocket.
That's an unreal story. That's literally like the equivalent of you camping outside in a tent outside the arena waiting for training camp to open. You did it for free for 2 years, and then you got the job. Shoot or shoot.
You do what you do, man. And listen, it's no one's gonna drop it on your lap. You got to go out and get it. And I've said that my entire career, and that's why I'm still lucky enough to be behind a microphone after all these years.
Yeah, and the number one morning show in the city for 20 plus years, 100,000 people every single morning, as you always do, right?
I'm telling you, man, it beats working for a living. Speaking of which, when are you gonna start working? What's going on?
Well, first off, we're working on this podcast every single week, number one. Number two, I do got to give a shout-out to my teammate, Tate Leeson. He's an Ottawa boy, Smith Falls, Ontario, the pride of Smith Falls. His dad listened to the show last week, first-time listener, and he texts Leeson. He says, hey, tell that goalie of yours he's got to get the Toyota Tacoma. I heard the truck talk last week. He's got to get the Tacoma. And every message I got last week, everybody was saying Tacoma as well. So shout-out to Mr. Leeson, to Dave as well. Dave was saying that the Tacoma for the spring is my truck of choice that I should get. But
is his name Liam Leeson?
Leeson, Leeson.
Leeson. Okay, Liam Leeson. He's got a very specific set of skills. I also noticed while reading the comments in the YouTube that secondhand too. If you get a chance, pick up someone with a few clicks on it.
Yeah, and they're way cheaper than the F-150s. I was even new F-150s are like $70,000 in Canada. The Tacomas are like 45, 46, like decent deal.
Yeah, man. You're not going to go wrong. Listen, just make sure you make good friends with a mechanic.
Speaking of, actually, never mind. That's an inside joke. If Lisa's listening to the podcast, he knows exactly where I'm going to go with that one. But speaking of a little bit of work, retired vets, or maybe not so retired vets, Winnipeg boy, our personal friend of yours and mine, Ian White, was named captain of the Norfolk Admirals in the East Coast Hockey League, former Motor City Rocker, and my former teammate. Captain of the Norfolk Admirals now.
I saw a clip of him getting mic'd up for a game the other day, and that's a good choice on captain. I mean, the guy's got he's got the games played in the show, and he's a journeyman, and why wouldn't you listen to a guy that's been around that long, right?
I heard a story the other day when he was playing in Columbus. One of the federal legends of all time is his name's MJ Graham. MJ is kind of like a rock star, self-proclaimed rock star. And I guess Whitey and MJ are playing in Columbus, and they get off the ice. And MJ says to Whitey, he's like, "Hey, Whitey, I'm open. You pass me the puck. Got it? Good." And then, obviously, you know how Whitey talks. Whitey says in his voice, he's like, "Geez, man, the only other guy to tell me that is Joe Thornton."
Well, good. Something got in common with Joe Thornton. Nothing wrong with that.
It's not bad. Both rock stars, I guess, in their own different ways, right?
And he started growing his beard seconds later.
We also have our equipment manager, Mikey Waugh.
Another Manitoban.
Yeah, we got so many Winnipeggers and Manitobans here. But he showed up the other day to the rink with a Bomber jersey, Blue Bomber jersey. He bleeds blue. What a beauty, eh?
Telling you, man, Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they wrapped up their regular season, already got the bye into the West Division final, so I'm feeling good, baby. I'm feeling good. November 19th, the Grey Cup. For those that don't know, that is the championship game and older than the Super Bowl. I think they're celebrating somewhere in the 100 teens of the Grey Cup championship, so yeah, looking forward to the boys getting in the dance again.
Named after Earl Grey, the tea.
Not true.
That is true. Earl Grey.
Is it true?
Earl
sure?
Grey made Earl Grey tea, and then they named the Grey Cup after him, the Earl Grey Cup. It's a true story.
I thought it was named after Gandalf the Grey, but okay, let's go with yours.
I'm positive. I remember I read it on Wikipedia one time.
Take it. Have it.
One other piece of news we had, too, was I know you guys had snow in Winnipeg today, right? It snowed?
We got a dusting. Yet nothing really stuck on the ground, but there's a lot of roofs that are still dealing with the snow.
Well, we had, I guess, our equivalent in Watertown. So we had games last week, and one of which was canceled. We had a massive water explosion, like a water main pipe in town exploded, and everything shut down. We had to call in the military. It's a true story. The military came down to the rink and were handing out jugs of water and 24 packs, and everybody stay home. Nothing was going on. Schools were closed. Businesses closed. I didn't get a pumpkin spice latte for a week, Dave. Think about that for a second. It's mayhem over here.
Well, listen, you lived in Vancouver. You're used to that. They get one snowfall and everything shuts down. Military comes in. They don't have the proper, backhoes and whatnot, and graders and loaders to move all that kind of stuff. And Starbucks shuts down and takes down their sign. Oh yeah, it's chaos when you're not expecting that. And keep in mind that the infrastructure through most of the eastern seaboard in the United States of America, I think you're going to start seeing more and more of that because that is an aging infrastructure.
Yeah, I think the thing with Vancouver, though, and I read this recently, or maybe a couple of weeks ago, was that like when Vancouver gets snow, apparently they need winter tires more than you and me in Winnipeg, because in the weather between I think +5 and -10, -6 is when you need winter tires the most. Anything after that or like -15, you don't really need them. You can get away with all seasons. Apparently, I don't know if that's true.
There's a secondary road that you can take in interior BC to get you out to Vancouver called the Coquihalla. You can take the number 1 highway, which is the Trans-Canada Highway, or you can take the Coquihalla, which is a beautiful road, but they literally go over the side of a mountain. And at the bottom of the mountain, there's huge signs. All semi-trucks must pull over and put your chains on. Put your chains on. Not your snow tires, not your studs. Chains. And then you got to take them down when you get down to the other side of the mountain. Like, it's no joke.
What does that mean? Like, what is putting the chains on?
Like, literally, think of putting chains over top of your tires. They are perfectly engineered, so they go over top of your tires, and then you clip them in, and your tires are, it's like a tank, and you've got literal chains, like chain link, going over top of your tires to help you dig through so you don't slide down the side of this mountain.
Yeah, because some of the grades and the declines of those mountains, like I know the speed limit there is like 130. Like you cannot go any slower than 120 because you just pick up so much speed going fast down there.
Yeah, it's crazy. At one point, if you have the right vehicle, yellow masks drop down because the compression, you just run out of oxygen when you're that high. It's crazy.
Really?
No. People don't have those installed in their vehicles.
I was going to say, what kind of vehicle are you driving over there? I know I haven't had a vehicle in 3 years, but I don't know what you're driving.
Okay, you're procrastinating now. When are you getting to work?
Okay, well, let's get down to business. So yours truly was scratched again this past weekend. It was only for one game, though, because the Friday game got canceled. I'm positive I would have been scratched for that one as well. And then the Saturday game, I was scratched for that as well. The scratches stayed home. We didn't go to the game, but that did end up being a 4-0 loss to the Elmira River Sharks. Now,
I'm starting to see some evidence here. You seem like the guy in Congress that pulls the fire alarm to get out. It's like, oh, I'm not playing. Well, I guess no one else is either.
It'd be a shame if somebody blew up this pipeline down Main Street and we had no water for a week.
Like Joe Biden and Nord Stream. What? Who said that?
Who said that? Dave?
What? Who said that?
But we do have games this weekend against the Binghamton Blackbirds. Now, keep in mind, we are recording here on Thursday nights. We play tomorrow night in Binghamton, then the following at home. So this podcast isn't going to be updated for those, but no word on if I'm scratched or if I'm playing or if, whatever's happening this weekend. But I was scratched this past weekend. And again, I know the people in the comments are going a little bit loopy, getting very passionate, both positively and negatively.
And thank you for that on both sides. Thank you for your passion.
Listen, the people that are positive about it, thank you for your support. I really do appreciate it. I know Dave does as well. I know Dave's not, in the ringer with me, but we appreciate it. And especially from my point of view, thank you for those that support me. For anybody that likes to shit on me, thank you for driving the algorithm of this podcast. Seriously, thank you so much. We can't do it without you. We need you. So please keep shitting on me in the comments. It's essential for this podcast to grow and get to more people. But I've really changed my perspective on this season, especially. And I know Dave and I were talking about this before we started recording, but you really have to flip the perspective. Like, so many people take hockey so seriously. Hockey's the be-all, end-all, right? And it's why so many guys, when they retire, they don't know what to do because hockey's just like, that's their identity, that's everything. I've tried to detach from that, especially in the past couple months. And I'm not saying, like, I don't care, because I do care. Like, I love hockey. My ego's involved, right? Like, I want to play. I want to help my team. I want to do things that I think I can do to help the team. Like, everybody does. It's human nature. But to detach from keeping all this outside, like, not taking it personally, and okay, this is an amazing opportunity, like I said last week, to upgrade my character. I get to show my teammates, I get to show Dave, I get to show you, the listeners of the show, I get to show everybody in the league, I get to audition my character to other teams in the league that could be potentially interested in trading for me or whatnot, that I am an incredible team player. I'll be an utter professional, day in, day out. I show up at the rink, the same mood, same smile, same body posture, body language, everything, every single day. Nothing changes. You'd have no idea what's going on. And I'm not going to affect the team or the room negatively. And that's all you really can do, and take it in stride. Like, I'm going to the gym. I'm trying to get better in the gym. I'm trying to take care of my diet. I'm trying to do things to upgrade myself. I'm trying to do more stuff with the podcast, trying to do more stuff with the vlog. I'm trying to find new ways to better myself as a person between the ears. Maybe different things that maybe I'm taking personally, or things that are upsetting me, or just different things that I'm told. Because there is some BS in hockey. There's no way to word it otherwise. And sometimes things get to you. Well, let's not let that bother us. Let's understand cognitively, why does this bother me? Let it go and move on, because that's not benefiting anybody. That is the absolute destructive side of my ego. So again, an amazing opportunity. And even, guys in the league play Xbox all day, right? Like, it's what we do. We skate from 10 to 11:30. Guys in Carolina, guys in Baton Rouge, guys in Port Huron. I guarantee you, everybody comes home, they go and they play Xbox. So what am I doing? I'm journaling. How am I going to get myself out of this hole? What have I been doing lately to make myself worthy of getting this opportunity to play games, to start games? What am I doing currently to make myself worthy for other teams that could potentially trade for me, or if it's for my team, or if it's for the future? And ultimately, and this is a big thing, and I think a couple people didn't like it when I said it last week, but I did mean it. This is the measuring stick to life. Playing in the Fed, this podcast, this vlog, even Dave's morning show, none of it really means shit. What actually means something, what kind of man are you? What kind of person are you? There's going to be a day in 10, 15, 20 years, assuming that all my stuff doesn't get pulled off YouTube and, the internet blows up, but my kids are going to watch this one day. And how can I, as a man, look my kids in the eye and say, listen, you got to have grit, you got to take things not personally, and you got to be a man. You got to be a professional about it, and you just have to live it. When you go through shit and you go through adversity, the bigger the adversity, the bigger the growth. And I, as a potential future father and man of this world, how can I talk about that and be taken seriously if I didn't live it and do it and succeed and get through it, right? Do you agree or disagree, Dave? Your dad.
Well, first off, I'd like to send a shout out to your kids, your future kids, Trayvon and T-Rav. Nice to see you. But listen,
they adopted?
I'm going to do this off the cuff. But as you were talking, I thought of something that I think I could spit into an analogy here. But when a chef is in the kitchen, he's not using the same knife for every cut, right? He's got a butcher block, and he keeps his butcher block very close because he's going to need different knives for different foods when he's prepping. So the idea is with a butcher block, that you got a lot of different slots in there. You got your butcher knife, you got your paring knife, you've got your serrated knife, you got a whole bunch of different knives in there, right? And they're very handy, and each one of them fit in that slot perfectly. In the odd time, if you're using knives a lot, you got a Swiss Army knife. Now, a Swiss Army knife is very handy, and it does a lot of different things, but it doesn't fit into one of those slots, so you keep that one in your pocket because it's handy all the time. You're more the Swiss Army knife. Okay, you don't have a spot in that butcher block right now, but the team knows that a Swiss Army knife is very valuable in a pinch. So you're in a situation right now where they're asking you, they see the advantage of the fact that you've got a bunch of different things in your wheelhouse and you can stop pucks, but they've already got someone filling that butcher block right now. So you need to figure out another way to get yourself inside of that butcher block while being a Swiss Army knife. And keep in mind, no one's going to start you because you wrote a nice journal entry into your diary, okay?
Well, and those things aren't for my GM. They're not for you. They're not for the viewers of the show. It's for myself. It's to prove to myself that I am worthy, to keep my confidence high, to keep my value, my worth high, so that when the opportunity does come, I take advantage of it, and I only need one rep, and I'm going to ultimately help our team. Right, like all these things that I've been working on the past couple months, they're not for anybody outside of myself. I want to be the best version of myself I can be, and I believe. I wake up early every morning. I make my coffee. I go to the rink. I get there an hour and a half early. I do the things to make sure that I'm going to be able to be successful physically at the rink. When I get on the ice, I get a warm up in. I get one of the guys come out early, shoot pucks at me, get my hands, get my eyes going. I'm focused. I'm dialed. I'm going to the gym after. I'm doing all the little things to make myself as successful as possible and to give the best version of myself Monday through Monday to my team. Every single day, to my coach, to my GM, to the fans, assuming I get to play and I get to play in front of them. I'm giving everybody the best version of myself, especially me. And if people don't see...
Imagine where you would be if you didn't put in all that effort.
Oh, I would I would be in the shit tank.
Right.
Like, realistically speaking, like, I have been very fortunate to see some success in my hockey career. And that's all been because of hard work and grit. I've had a lot of no's. I've taken some things personally, which... I wish I didn't, which is kind of why I've gotten myself in the position that I am with my career in general. But I'm trying to build off it. I'm trying to be the best version of myself, like we talked about, and I'm trying to ultimately set an example for other guys in the locker room that maybe are going through some challenging times, to set an example for, again, my future kids, for my family, for everybody that watches the show, that or the vlog, both and the podcast, that there is a way to do it, right? Like, to be a professional, to take it professionally day in, day out, to do the small things, and to give the best version of yourself to the team and to yourself every single day. And that's all you can really do. The rest, it's out of my control, right? Like, I don't decide who starts. I can give the best opportunity for myself to factor into that equation, but I don't make that choice. I don't factor in, if I'm released tomorrow, if I'm traded, all these things. That's the business of professional hockey. But I can show up with a good attitude, in a good mood, on time, prepared to work. And that is exactly what I do every single day, because I'm trying to be the best man that I possibly can for my team.
If you can walk out of that rink every day with your head held high and thinking, I did everything I possibly could while I was in there today, then you're doing your job.
And I think that's another thing too, like, more so just like as a man in my life, personally, outside of the rink, is with different relationships, professionally, romantically, business-wise, friendship, anything, looking at myself in the mirror and say, did I do everything that I possibly can to salvage this and to make the most of it? The answer is yes. I can't do anything more, right? And that's, we talked about therapy, like my life coach, the therapy counseling with an actual like mental therapist. That's big. Letting that go. I can't do anything more. I can't fix the situation. I can't help you unless you want to help yourself. I can't change people's minds. I can only help myself. And letting that go. I've done what I can do. The rest is up to God, and trying to make him proud and have him help give me an opportunity, because he pulls the strings at the end of the day. You
mentioned him earlier, and I'll use him as an example here, but Ian White, do you think that team hired him expecting him to play the way he did when he was with the Toronto Maple Leafs or the Detroit Red Wings? No. They know this is Ian White, that's probably 50 or 60 pounds heavier, is a decade older. But are we still going to be able to squeeze some good hockey out of him? Yeah, but you know what else he's going to do? He's going to bring in an incredible veteran presence into that locker room. I'm not dumb to realize that I've been doing this 25 years, and one of the reasons why I am where I am at a top 40 station is to kind of inspire some of these younger announcers and show that just because I'm in my mid-40s doesn't mean I'm not going to work twice as hard as you and be in the studio more often than you. And if you want to get to a certain level of success, you got to put it in that amount of time. I think it's evident that you are putting in that amount of time. I don't think anyone denies that you're putting in that amount of time. Now it comes down to who's putting more of the success down on the paper for the team.
And that's up to them to decide. But again, actually, to bring back to Ian White analogy, we just had a roster deadline of cutting down from 22 to 19 guys. And there was no specifics of how many goalies, how many players. You can cut anybody you want. And the team opted to keep me on the payroll. Thank God. With this amazing Canadian dollar, I'm making about $31 a day. I am getting rich every single day, let me tell you that. But doing the little things to show the guys, like, for example, we had a meeting the other day, and I told the guys, we need to start brushing our teeth in the morning. And I'm serious. We show up at the rink, guys wake up, roll out of bed, they don't brush their teeth. I don't want to smell your stinky breath every single day at the rink. Let's take 30 seconds to brush our teeth, have some respect for ourselves, and make everything more enjoyable. Little details like that. Do you make your bed in the morning? Are you folding your laundry neatly? When we're done practice, are you putting the jersey flat, clean, and pulling out the arms for our equipment manager? Like the little details like that. And I am actually the third oldest in the team, believe it or not. Our beautiful, sexy captain, our cowboy out of Colorado, Dustin Henning, who's 39 years young, not 40, just for the record. He's the oldest. Chris Corrigan, and then myself. So I'm the third oldest in the team, and I think part of the reason, too, why I'm still here is to set an example of those standards and those expectations of being a professional, being a man every single day, being a real man.
Well, listen, man, I hope you get that starter, you get into the lineup here sooner than later, because I think Christmas time is probably the threshold of you have to start X amount of games. I don't know what that number is in your mind, but there has to be a certain amount of games started before Christmas time, or else, I mean, I'm not saying you know what to do, but it just seems to me in hockey in general, maybe a lot of rookies that come up, they have 10 games. They got 10 games to figure it out, and then they have to decide if they're sending them forward or backwards, or if they're keeping them on the roster. So I think Christmas is a good indication of what the rest of your season is going to look like.
And like I said, there's nothing more that I can control. I'm doing everything that I can to make myself successful. If the team puts me in the lineup, if they don't, that's up to them. That's up to management. That's why they are in charge and not me. And every team, I want to remind the listeners at home, this is completely normal. Every team in the Fed, every year it seems like goes through at least 5+ goalies. I mean, I think last year Mississippi and Binghamton might have gone through like 10+. Like it's a lot of movement. There's a lot of things that happen in the league. Mm-hmm. So just because we're 3 weeks into the season and I haven't dressed yet, doesn't mean the season's over. There's plenty more runway left in the game. So
another good example of an old guy being in the lineup is Alexander Ovechkin. Now the Washington Capitals, hey, you got us a cup. We know you want Gretzky's record. We'll throw you out there on the power play, and you can dunk the old empty net goal at the end of the game too, like he did the other night. But I do want to mention, speaking of Alex Ovechkin, he God love him, he manhandled my old roommate Leah Hextall. She was in between the benches between the Caps and who did they beat the other night? The Devils, 6-4. And before the game, she was having a hard time getting on the benches, so he just kind of scooped her up and threw her in the back of the bench. If we have the video of that, I believe we got it from Twitter, formerly known as X or whatever the crap it's called now. Ovi getting manhandling my old roommate.
That's amazing. Send me the video after, and I'll get in the video version of the show, which, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you as always. Hit the subscribe button, because the video version of the show is just so much more better than if you're one of the people listening on Apple or Spotify. By the way, we did up well over 5,000, almost 6,000. I think we did more than 6,000 listens last week, which is insane. So thank you to our amazing listeners, as always, for listening to the show. But speaking of manhandling, the presenting sponsor for the show, as they have been every single week since day one, Sheath Underwear. Let's talk about them. You need a pair of Sheath this holiday season for your husband, for your brother, for your boyfriend, whatever it is. If you're a lady, I know there's all three of you listening to the show, but if you are a man, for yourself, have some self-respect, get yourself some Sheath Underwear, and here's why. Their dual pouch technology is a separated compartment for your dick and your balls, and it'll stick to the side of your leg. They got this bamboo mesh that keeps you cool, comfortable, and aerated. I'm wearing them right now, and I'm feeling light as a cucumber right now doing the show. And you right now can pick up a pair of Sheath Underwear with the code BIZKIT69, BIZKIT 69 for 20% off. The greatest pair of underwear money can buy only at sheathunderwear.com. There's a link in the video description on the YouTube video podcast and on the Apple Spotify notes. If you're listening in the car, pull over and safe to do so, and pick up a pair of Sheath for yourself this holiday season.
Do it. Best Santa Claus wears them.
You know who probably does wear a pair because he's an absolute nail gun is the guy we traded for the other day, Justin Schmidt. He's also 30. Actually, hold on, I got to backtrack. I'm now the fourth oldest in the team because we just traded for Justin Schmidt. He's 39 years old. He is a fighter, a nail gun of all nail guns. This guy's got tattoos up to his neck. Like he looks scary as shit, Dave.
Tattoos don't make you tough. The dude makes the tattoos tough.
It's true. Yeah. He's the only guy that fights Diamond Hands Annesbury on a consistent basis.
So why the trade? Looking to toughen up on the front line or what?
I don't know. You'd have to ask the boss man for that. But I would assume so because we got one of the toughest guys to play in the league.
You tell Penzi inquiring minds want to know.
I've told him to come on the podcast. I think maybe he'll come on sometime next month. End of the month, we'll sit down and we'll have a conversation. But I floated the idea out to him. I'm sure the fans of Watertown would love to hear from him. What do you think?
Well, listen, I will go back to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers here for a second. One thing that I love, and I'm not sure, I don't know, this could be a regular thing. I know it is for college football, but every Monday night on the AM talk radio station here in Winnipeg, they do the coach's show, where for an hour he fields phone calls from listeners, and it's curated by an announcer from the station, and they kind of handle the calls and help out when there's no calls, coming in and have a conversation. But there's been a handful of coaches over the years that are really great behind a mic, and a lot of them that hate it, but know that it's part of their requirement, it's part of their contract. I'd be curious to know if Penzi would be interested, or because I mean, being a general manager, you're either a Kyle Dubas where you're in front of the mic all the time, or you're you're a Kevin Cheveldayoff with the Winnipeg Jets, and there's just different styles of it. Some of them love being in front of the media, and others are like, that's not part of my gig. So yeah, get Penzi on here. Why not? I'd be curious to know. I got a couple questions that are rolling through my head right now as far as what a general manager in the Federal Prospects Hockey League, as far as like, do they have any more aspirations of moving up the chain, getting a championship team, moving up to the EC? Like, I'm curious to know these things.
I would love to see a media scrum, like for an FPHL general manager, because they wouldn't be as polished as like an NHL guy, and they ask them questions. So your team won tonight. How did it happen? Well, we were just better. We dummied them. We pumped them. We're on to the next one. Like, you get actual, real answers, as opposed to, well, we outperformed them, and our power play was good. We're moving the puck well, and we're really happy with it. Like, you wouldn't get that type of BS. You'd get actual, real answers, and because a lot of guys hate each other.
I think you'd get the same answers, just different adjectives. I think you get smarter adjectives, maybe, if you're lucky.
Smarter or less smarter?
Smarter adjectives. Different adjectives. How about that?
Like, give me an example. What do you think would actually come out of an FPHL general manager or head coach's mouth in an interview?
Okay, I'll pretend you're the interviewer. I'm just coming off the ice for the second period. My team's leading 4-2. Go ahead, ask me a question.
Mr. Wheeler, your team is waxing the Motor City Rockers. How do you feel about it?
Well, the boys are just playing really well together out now. We got 20 more miles left to go here, so it's going to try and keep the momentum going and keep doing the little things. That is the exact interview every single time, and it's not all on the players. They've been trained for this. They understand how they just want to have them on camera. They want to have them on the microphone. I kind of blame the sports media sometimes for it, and they do their best to try and phrase the same questions in different manners and make it sound a little bit different. But I think if you had a general manager, it's a little bit more of the, hey, you left a guy off the roster this week in place of putting some bigger defensemen as your 6 and 7. Walk me through the process and the lineup, looking at the team on the other side of the ice. Was that a conscious decision, or was that a numbers thing? So you're going to get different questions because you're asking about things that are happening off the ice.
Mr. Wheeler, you said there's 20 miles left. Would you also say there's 20 smiles left in the game? I'd be the best interviewer ever. I'd ask the most ridiculous questions.
How many smiles? How many smiles
in those last 20 miles? What do you say? What's the over-under?
Since we're making requests for post-game interviews, I don't think it has to happen in the regular season, but I think in the playoffs, I would love to see the official take 5 minutes from the sports media. Hey, you made a questionable call there in the second. Feels like you made it up for it a little bit in the third. Walk me through the process of what you saw. I would love to see the referees be a little. Name your sport, any one, tennis all the way down to tiddlywinks. I don't care, but I think the referees, especially in hockey, and Pat McAfee was going off about how the refs are part of the game. They're out there all the time. Hey, look right here. Hey, look right. I don't know if you've watched the Pat McAfee show. He's always standing up and he's always jacked up, and he's going up. But he was doing his usual I love hockey thing and talked about how the refs are really part of the game and loves the NHL referees, but I would love to see them be, I would love to see in the playoffs, especially maybe even Stanley Cup Finals only, but I would love to see them have to face the media after the game as well.
They actually have the Pat McAfee show playing on a big screen TV when you walk into the Watertown Arena, and I always notice too, he's always wearing a wife beater in his show. He never wears any like actual professional stuff, unless I'm missing something.
Nope. No, I think that was part of the deal. I think when ESPN came to him, because keep in mind he was doing it online for years before that. When they came to him, they're like, "Hey, this, we want to change the show. Cool, as long as I get to wear my shirts. I ain't wearing a tie." Like, okay, all right, whatever you want, Pat. Yeah, I love him. He's great. He's fantastic. I've been listening to that podcast for years.
He was a kicker, though, right? He was a kicker in the NFL.
He was a kicker in the NFL and never took himself too seriously. And boy, oh boy, he was fun to listen to. And that's the kind of guy you want to get the microphone in front of. You know what I mean? Like, I know you're going to the captain all the time. You go to the popular players, but that's the guy you want the soundbite from.
I feel like, especially in the FPHL, you can get more guys like that. Like, at the top levels, you wouldn't get guys like that because a lot of them get so serious. But, like, in the FPHL, I feel like every guy kind of falls into that category of just a entertaining personality. There's obviously, like, there's a lot of things that you couldn't share online because it's just not PG, but there's a lot of personality that I feel like the FPHL could capitalize off of.
Well, I think the difference is you've got a lot of guys who are playing at the higher levels of the professional sport who have an image and are being told by their agencies, you have an image to uphold if you want the commercials, if you want to be slinging Fords like Matthew McConaughey, then you gotta make sure you keep that image squeaky clean. Where I think down in the lower rungs of professional hockey, you've got guys who are like, hey, I'm just here because I don't have a real job, and why not? Let's have some fun, and they kind of make their name that way.
I think you nailed it. That's literally why everybody's here. We're not getting rich anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do want to get rich, you get some amazing value if you join the Patreon page, right?
There you go. Yeah, sign up to be a Patreon member. It's another way to support the show, and you get a few extra incentives here and there. Travis is going to tell you about the mugs and the hoodies and the cards and the access and the bonus shows. And if you're not a Patreon member, are you really a fan of this show?
That's true. And the patrons keep this show running every single week. So there's a couple extra bonus episodes that are on there that had to be deleted, and some extra ones that Dave and I have recorded specifically for the patrons, which you can listen to if you join for $5 a month. You also get access to some free, if you join the Patreon page, some free collector's trading cards, my holographic print from Motor City in Varberg in Sweden, as well as a 6-piece regular printed set. You also, at different price tiers, you get the Slangin The Bizkit mug, Slangin The Bizkit plush sweater. Well, not plush sweater. It's like it's like a nice material. It's like really like trendy material. I don't know. I need to figure out the wording before I start doing these pitches, but you get all access to that.
It's a nice polyester cotton blend.
Yeah, sure. We'll go with that. I don't know what the blend is, but it feels nice and it's comfy. And it's $5 a month. You can join at the link in the description. You support the show, and that's literally what keeps the show running. The sponsors and the Patreon members is what keeps this show afloat. And I did a talking piece for the vlog actually today. The ring talking about I haven't worked a real job in well over 5 years. I mean, the last job I worked was when I got fired at Best Buy, and the vlog, the podcast, brand deals, sponsors, that's AdSense also from YouTube and from the podcast. That's what keeps me afloat, and that's what keeps the show afloat and keeps Dave working on the show with me because Dave don't want to do it for free anymore.
Well, listen, I also want to hear your idea. You said you have a hack on how to make money in Vancouver.
Yeah. So Dave and I were talking about right before we started recording the show. I had this idea. So we talked last week about so when the season is done in the spring, I'm gonna move back to Vancouver full time. I'm gonna get a 1-bedroom probably in I'm thinking either North Vancouver, Olympic Village, or Kitsilano Beach, because Kitsilano Beach is an unreal place, and especially
or East Hastings, or if you want to save money.
I don't really want to live in East Hastings.
Okay.
Plus, I think in Kitsilano it'd be fantastic because you get all these hippy dippy hipster people, and then when I plug up the street with a plume of black smoke from my fossil fuel burning Tacoma, it's perfect. All the climate change activists will get all bent out of shape by it, and then I'll just remind them I'm also a climate change activist. But that's different. If
you're sitting at your CPU, do a quick Google search on Kitsilano Beach. It's a pretty part of the country. I can promise you that.
It is stunning. The beach access, the coffee shops, the food. 10 p.m. on a Saturday night. There's some good-looking ladies down 10th or down 4th Street. I'll tell you that much.
Let's go to Kitts Beach. What time is it? Let's go to Kitts Beach.
It's always a good time to go to Kitts Beach, as long as it's not raining December, January, February, and March, when it rains 25 days of the month. But beside the point.
What's your idea?
So this is my idea, okay? I'm going to go and buy 2 purebred beagles, okay? I'm going to buy a boy and a girl. It's probably going to cost me about $2,500, maybe $3,000 for like 2 purebreds, but I'm going to get them to breed, and that's going to have me, making some lucrative side cash. So in 2 years when they reproduce and I sell, the little babies for like $500 a head, I made my money back, and then they breed again. Now I'm in the green. Now I'm making some cash. So I feel like that could be like a nice little lucrative side business in Vancouver while, in the summers, I'm training, I'm skating maybe once a week, every 2 weeks. I just got like little beagle puppies that are paying for my rent. What do you think?
It reminds me of now you got to keep in mind I'm a big fan of Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino. I just think he is one of the most talented human beings out there right now, and he did a show called Atlanta, which he wrote and directed, and he was down on his luck, and he had a few dollars, and a friend of him was like, how much money you got? He's like, I got like $150 that's got to last me for like the next couple of months, and he's like, I can turn that into $1,000 for you. He's like, really? He's like, yeah, get in the car, let's go. So they go all the way out to this country, the rural area, this farm, and they go talk to this guy, and they hand over the $150, and he goes, all right, and they shake hands on it, and they go to leave. He goes, whoa, where's my $1,000? He's like, we'll get it in 3 months when the puppies are born. He's like, why? Like, I need that money now. He's like, well, you didn't specify. So, like, yeah, you turned your 150 into 1,000 3 months from now.
No, he's got no money for 3 months.
So you're going to be breeding puppies, is you?
I feel like if I could find like a pet friendly apartment and and like beagles are smaller dogs. You get like runs to the litter, and you just get a boy and a girl, and then I have my 2 traveling beagles that if I just get them rabies shots, I can bring them with me for the season. Whether I go to Watertown or Sweden, Denmark, whatever. Just traveling the traveling beagles, and then they just reproduce in the spring/summer. Then boom, pop them out $500 a head, and got lucrative side cash. I feel like that's a great idea.
It's a good idea, but it's not like you don't have enough stuff to drag around the country right now as far as your gear, your hockey gear, and then your recording gear, and then your video gear, and your editing gear. Now you got puppies in tow. Believe me, I'll tell you. Darcy Oak, world-famous illusionist, happens to be a good friend of mine, and he did a show with birds once upon a time, and he used to travel with them all the time. He got to a point where if he was doing a show in a different country and trying to get these birds over the border, he's like, I'll just contact another magician who does a bird show over there, and I'll borrow them because it's a pain in the. I told you the story about me taking my St. Bernard all the way in North America.
And it pissed on you.
Oh, did it ever. Did it ever. So just saying, careful what you wish for. If you got the time in the summer, and keep in mind the gestation period of animals that size are anywhere from 2 to 3 months. But buyer beware.
Here's another idea. What if I went to go play somewhere really cold? Like I went to like Norway or Denmark, and then I got like a dog sled. So like I can get this dog sled, pack with my gear, my suitcase and everything, and then just have them giddy up Fred Flintstone, yabba dabba do me anywhere I got to go. How about that for a lucrative idea?
Why not? Why? You know what? I'd actually love it. I would love to see a northern team have show up to the rink on a dog sled. That'd be incredible. They probably do. Who knows?
Like I'm talking like the north, like
up in Umeå, like North Sweden.
Yeah, Umeå or Luleå or like Narvik in Norway, like those types of places where the sun doesn't come out for 3 months. Like those types of places, you dog sled to the rink every single day. But everybody has their own dog sled and matching beagle twins.
I always found it funny growing up and playing hockey out of Fort McMurray, Alberta, which is about 4.5 hours northeast of Edmonton, where the Oilers play. And we would go down. I mean, our shortest drive for a game was 3.5 hours, and our longest was 8. But even 4.5 hours south, playing a lot of the teams in and around Edmonton, Sherwood Park, Spruce Grove, stuff like that. You get to talking to the guys after, and they're like, "So is it true you guys use dog sleds up there?" I'm like, "What? Like, look at a map. Look at a map. What's wrong with you? We got snowmobiles, dummy."
You ever seen like the TikToks? Like there's 2 TikTok accounts that just stand out in my mind for this kind of stuff. There's a guy that goes around like different Americans in like Texas, New York. He's like, "What do you guys think is Canada like? What's Canada like?" And they're like, "Penguins, dog sled, snow," which I find really funny because like just some of the answers that come up is just ridiculous. And then you have another guy that goes up to different people in the streets and says, "Hey, I got 2 WNBA tickets or $1. What do you want? I'll take the $1. Hey, I got 2 WNBA tickets or some Dawn dish soap. I'll take the dish soap." Like those 2 guys are interesting.
Congratulations to the Las Vegas Aces, by the way, back-to-back WNBA champions. First time in league history.
That's the team that Tom Brady owns, right?
Great question. No idea. Probably.
Nobody knows. Nobody cares. All 5 people watched the finals.
Actually, it was pretty sold out. They were playing the New York Liberty, and they had pretty big crowds in the finals.
Speaking of big crowds, though, this is one thing that I did want to talk about. This was in the notes here. Have you seen the Brittney Mahomes Taylor Swift handshake?
No, but I know T. Kelce, number 87, is putting up a lot more points when T. Swizzle's in the audience. He's almost doubling his reception numbers.
I just can't stop thinking about that handshake and how cringy it was. I'll put a video on the video version of the show, but it's awful. It really is. And then Jackson Mahomes was trying to get in on it too, but he's kind of like a third wheel for that situation.
I did see that. I was like, oh, careful, Travis. Careful. Sharks are in the water.
You imagine that? He steals his girl.
No, that would never happen. You want to talk about attendance? We here in the beautiful city of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, the home of the Winnipeg Jets, they're embroiled in a little bit of what I think is undue controversy regarding the state of the attendance early in the season. And I did a bit of a rant on it on my terrestrial radio show. And basically, I'll give you the Reader's Digest version here, but there's a lot of different theories. And Canadian sports media has picked it up, and they're talking about like, oh, are the Jets going to leave again? Is that it? They're the first time they've had not a sellout since this day, and the lowest attendance ever, and are they going to move the team? And there's a lot of different theories as to why the attendance is down this year. And whatever your theory is, you're right. It's not 100% that, but you're right. It's that with this and the other thing and that thing and what they said. And yes, all these things that are adding up to less people in the stands. You also got to keep in mind that inflation in Canada right now is very high. A lot of people are having to make cuts here and there. And I know Chucklehead there from Chicklets was like, it's $25 to see the NHL. $25. It's not like it's expensive. Yeah, Maybe not for you, but for a lot of people that would normally go to the games, yeah, it might be. And keep in mind the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who we mentioned earlier, they're about to make a Grey Cup run. They were sold out for their final home season of the game against the Edmonton Elks, a bottom-dwelling team where they started a lot of their secondary guys, and they still managed to sell out to 33,000 at IG Field. So there's always a crossover between the Canadian Football League and the NHL and Winnipeg. I mean, keep in mind, we're under 1 million people. I mean, the province itself is only 1.4 million, and 85% of that population lives in Winnipeg. So you've only got a certain amount of dollars that get spent in the city, and I think you will see the numbers go up. But again, not going through the entire list of all the reasons and all the theories of why we're in this situation, but the answer is you're right. And Mark Chipman has come out and said, no, we're not moving this team. Keep in mind, Mark Chipman is not owning with David Thompson the Winnipeg Jets for the money they're going to make off the Winnipeg Jets. It's a business plan for everything else that comes with it in the city. And Mark Chipman is trying to rebuild the city brick by brick downtown. So if I had my choice, I'd just hand him the key to downtown and say, do whatever you want.
Well, would you not agree that they've built so much infrastructure in the city? There's so many buildings have popped up, like the 300 Main. They have a couple different like high rises off of Broadway now that are going up. They have that loft set up just off of Portage and Main that's going up too. That's getting renovated. So many things that are popping in Winnipeg since the Jets came back.
Portage Place Mall is now being taken over by True North Square. Just a few more signatures need to be put down on the paper. True North Square, which has been an incredible addition to downtown. Our Skywalk system, we're getting there. It's just it doesn't happen overnight. We're not as quick as some of the western provinces or the eastern provinces where we're steady growth, just steady growth.
Hey, Leah Brizgella loves the True North Square. So you know it's or not the True North Square. The walkway. The
Skywalk.
Not the Skywalk. Is it the Skywalk?
Well, I mean, sometimes you got to go underground towards Portage and Main and whatnot, where it gets you up. You can't actually cross the road at Portage and Main. You have to go underground. But because it gets so cold here in the wintertime, and keep in mind we get down to minus 40 in late January, early February for a handful of weeks, and that's the same in Fahrenheit that it is in Celsius. But the foresight they had back in the 70s when they were engineering the city is they connected the majority of downtown through Skywalk, so you can park underground, take your jacket off, and go all the way through downtown in a T-shirt if you wanted to in January.
Until you got to leave Portage and Main, Portage and Main. Then you got to leave, and you got to head east towards the Forks. Then you got to put your jacket back on. Yeah.
They haven't hooked that one up. Again, steady growth. We're getting there. Be patient. I've been here 21 years and I'm still waiting. Be patient.
I was going to say though, the attendance though was pretty low. Like when I went 2 years ago for Jets Flyers game when I came back from Sweden. So it's not like it's news. I feel like they've been more empty than before in the last couple of years.
Yeah, but listen. Okay, I'll give you another example. The reason why at the time True North Arena, now known as Canada Life Centre, was built at just over 15,000 because they built it at NHL minimum. That was the requirement. You have to have X amount of seats in your building in order to house an NHL team. Unless you're the Arizona Coyotes, unless you're them, then we'll shoehorn you into a college rink at 8,000 people and beg every community around Phoenix, please take our team, please. Aren't there any other markets you can move to? No, please take our team. So there's no fear whatsoever of the Winnipeg Jets leaving Winnipeg. I will guarantee you that.
What do you think's more likely to happen? The Coyotes leave, or Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift get married?
Well, listen, when it comes to celebrity marriages,
hold on. Let me throw a knife in there. The Coyotes leave, Kelce and Swift get married. I start a game in the Feds. What's most likely to happen? What's going to happen first?
I'm holding out hope here. I'm thinking you're getting a start. That's the one I'm going with.
Let us know in the comments section what's most likely to happen. I'd love to see the comments.
Well, listen, if you told me that Frances Bean Cobain, daughter of your favorite musician of all time, was going to marry skateboarding legend Tony Hawk's son, I wouldn't have called that one. How about that for a celebrity marriage, huh?
Every time I hear Tony Hawk, I think of Pro Skater 4 with AC/DC TNT. I'm TNT.
Oh man, those games.
That's what I think of.
Great games, great soundtracks. Absolutely loved playing those games when I was younger, and they actually just came out with a remix of them. But yeah, good on. Yeah, why not? Young love, go for it.
And if you want to play games, though, make sure you're ready for your date night. Team of Manscaped, the Beard Hedger. You got to get it. The second sponsor for the show. I got my beard just tapered up right before we started recording with the Beard Hedger, and you can too. The Manscaped Beard Hedger has a 60-minute battery life. It has 20 different modes and sizes to taper your beard just the way you like it, with that Leonidas Hercules look that I'm going for right now, that masculine look. And it is also waterproof as well. So if you go to manscaped.com, use the code BIZKIT, BIZKIT, we get 20% off and free shipping. It's in the video description on the YouTube video version or the Apple podcasting notes, Spotify as well. Just pull over and say to do so. Click on that link, put in the code BIZKIT, and 20% off that and anything else at manscaped.com. Thank you for sponsoring the show.
Thank you very much for your sponsorship. We do appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. So, as it stands right now, I know you guys are looking at a championship season this year. You got a really strong team. You've made a couple of trades to get some fresh blood into the lineup. I'm curious to know if you think you're going to have more success in the first half of the city when you play a majority of teams in your division, or the second half where you're heading down south.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of traveling. There is no south, though. We're not taking the bus. We're not taking the plane or anything. It's just like no southern travel. We go to Motor City, Port Huron, Blue Ridge, the Withville team, and I think that's it. We don't travel anywhere to south. We don't go to Baton Rouge. We don't go to Mississippi. We don't go to Columbus. We don't go to Carolina either. We don't see them at all.
Until the finals.
Until the playoffs. Till the finals. Not even in the first two rounds. In the finals will be the only time that we saw them, if we did see them. So three of them we will not see this season. Potentially only one. I don't know. It's tough to say because basically up until December, we don't play any road games, really. We only have a couple sprinkled in here and there. The month of November, we don't play a single road game, only home games. But then January, February, we start traveling, we start moving. So I would like to say we would probably be more successful the first half of the season just based on that. But travel brings the team together, though. Travel brings the team together like nothing else. The bus jungle gym at 2 a.m, when we're driving back and you got all the legs across the seat, guys sleep on the floor, that gets guys bonding. When we go to Chipotle for our pregame meal and everybody's getting double meat, queso, guac, extra salsa, extra meat, extra cheese, that kind of stuff bonds us together. So I don't know. Maybe I'll.
Well, listen, you guys got your own personal chef. I've been watching the vlogs, and you got Taco Tuesdays at the house. You got pizza at the rink. You guys are getting fed well. It's nice to see.
We're getting fed really well. Shout out to Booster Rob. Rob cooks all the meals himself. He makes them and brings them down to the rink for the boys. So, Rob, your work is appreciated. You're a fantastic cook, and thank you so much for the meals, man. You're awesome.
What's the pregame meal for you, and at what time?
Am I eating at the rink with the team, or am I eating on my own and had to buy my own food?
Walk me through it. I don't know.
Okay, so let's say, for example, tomorrow. So tomorrow for Binghamton, we have morning skate, 10 to 10:45. I won't eat beforehand. I'll just have a wake up, probably 7:15, make my coffee, a little bit of maple syrup and butter, out the door, drink it, water, greens at the rink with a little bit of fresh lime, and then skate. We have, and this is coming to the vlog soon. I don't think you've seen this in the actual up-to-date vlogs as of this moment in time recording the show, but we have a bagel bar now. So we have everything, plain, blueberry, cinnamon raisin bagels, you name it, and then a whole cream cheese bar, which, by the way, we are getting rid of the everything bagels because we got too many seeds going on the floor, and our beautiful, incredible equipment manager, Mikey Waz, getting pissed off because he's picking up everything bagel seeds off the floor. So no more everything bagels, only the other four. So probably have one bagel. I'll just say that for the podcast sake, because sometimes I do take two and I haven't getting shit, but I'm a big boy and I'm growing. I'm 6'5", 230 pounds right now, so I'm trying to eat like it. But yeah, two bagels with a lot of cream cheese with a little bit of bagel on the side for both of them, if we're being quite honest. I'd probably go home, have a nice big steak, probably like a really big, maybe like a 1 pound steak, like just a big boy. As caramelized on the outside as possible, as not cooked on the inside as possible, with a side of brown butter. Go for a nap. Actually, I won't get an opportunity to nap because the bus leaves tomorrow at 1 or 1:30. So probably just go home, make the steak, and then we'll have a pregame meal, whatever the team supplies us. And then just supplements during the game. So like my supplements from Beyond Yourself, water, maybe a banana. That's probably about it.
And then you eat after the game, obviously.
Yeah, so whatever the team gives us. So it's probably pizza, probably meatballs, probably calzones, probably... Actually, we haven't eaten Olive Garden yet, any chicken parmesan, so that's kind of nice. I think I was so sick of chicken parmesan after last year, I didn't want to have it ever again for the rest of my life. So
non-stop minestrone? Okay.
All you can eat minestrone and salad?
Love it. Love that joint.
It was good, but after a couple times and after a couple road trips, it's like, okay, I've had enough with the soup. I don't want any more soup!
They used to have I don't know if it's still on their menu or not, but they used to have a really good penne Toscana back in the day.
They might. All I know is they gave us the $5 all-you-can-eat soup and salad with breadsticks with one piece of chicken parmesan. That was our pregame meal last year at Olive Garden.
Beautiful. I still love the fact that it's lined up around the corner before the doors open, right next to the Red Lobster here in Winnipeg. 2 locations.
The one right off of Broadway?
Portage. There's one off Portage, and there's one off of Regent as well.
I don't think I've ever actually been to Red Lobster. Actually, I don't think I've ever had a lobster period in my life.
What? You were? That's right. You dumb. You were in Halifax, and you went with shawarmas and donairs instead of having actual East Coast Red Lobster. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, no. Rob wanted to go and have lobster, and then I got cheap last minute because the lobster was $45 a rip, and I say, let's just go get donair. It's like $10.
The only place in the world where you can get a McLobster at McDonald's. It is a regional special.
But hey, if you join the Patreon page and support the show, maybe I can afford a little bit of lobster next summer when I go to Halifax. I'm just saying, maybe I won't eat donair for an entire week. I went on a 6-day donair bender in Halifax this summer.
Fun fact about lobster out in the East Coast, there was a period of time through the 70s and 80s that if you were cooking lobster, you did it at night because if people could smell lobster coming from your house, they knew you weren't doing well financially because, you had to go pick your food out of the water. But nowadays, it's going for like $30 a pound. It's insane.
You know what's awesome poor people food is chicken thighs. They're an unreal steal. Like a little barbecue glaze in the skin, crispy skin, broil that. Oh, I love eating chicken thighs.
I actually like to sear those for about 8 minutes in a pan, a large stainless steel pan, and then what I'll do is, and this is just a cheap way to do it if you're looking for a quick dinner, is 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup, and then bring that down to a medium to low heat and let that boil for a good 20 minutes to half an hour, and it's just, I call it an old lady meal. You put that with rice and some steamed broccoli. Oh, yeah. All day.
When do I come over for dinner?
Whenever you're back in town.
That does sound pretty good. A little cream of mushroom chicken thigh with some crispy skin. I might have to go get some after this. Go to the store.
Well, let's wrap up so we can go eat.
Let's do that. So thank you for listening to the show. As we do every single week, Dave Wheeler and I do a new show every single Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern. That's 10 in Winnipeg, 9 in Calgary outside the Bow River, and 8 on the West Coast in Vancouver, in Gastown, down in East Hastings, 8 a.m. But if you're on the YouTube video version, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an episode of the show. If you're on Apple or Spotify, leave a 5-star review. Let us know what you think of the show. We'd love to hear from you. And until then, hopefully we got some good news for you next week that I do make the lineup this weekend. And Pat McAfee and I.
Big shout out to Pat McAfee and the Pat McAfee Show on ESPN because he loves hockey.